Hello and welcome to Decision 2020. Today we have President Donald Trump versus Hawaii Representative Tulsi Gabbard. It is now 7 p.m. and we have the following state poll closings. Indiana and their 11 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump. Kentucky and their 8 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump. Virginia is currently too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard is ahead with almost a 2-point lead. South Carolina, not too early to call. 8% of the precinct in. Every year it's too early to call. Georgia is now too close to call. Donald Trump has a lead in the state. Vermont and their 3 electoral votes goes to Tulsi Gabbard. Missouri and their 10 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump. Here's the current electoral college. 29 electoral votes for Donald Trump and 3 for Tulsi Gabbard. The Indiana gubernatorial race, the winner is Eric Holcomb. Eric Holcomb wins a second term to the governorship. Amy McGrath defeats incumbent Mitch McConnell to become Kentucky Senator. Mark Warner wins re-election in the Virginia Senate. Lindsey Graham wins re-election in the South Carolina Senate. David Perdue wins re-election in the Georgia Senate. Vermont's gubernatorial race ends with Bernie Sanders winning an independent run as governor. Missouri, Mike Parsons re-elected as governor of the state. It is now 7:30. We have the following state poll closings. Ohio, too close to call. Donald Trump has a lead in the state. West Virginia and their 5 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump. North Carolina, too close to call. Donald Trump has a lead in the state. Virginia was too close to call before, but now we have a projection. Virginia and their 13 electoral votes goes to Tulsi Gabbard. South Carolina, still too early to call. Donald Trump has a lead in the state still. Georgia, a projection from Georgia and their 16 electoral votes goes to Donald Trump. Here's the current electoral college. Donald Trump with 50 electoral votes, Tulsi Gabbard 16. Shelley Moore Capito wins re-election in the West Virginia Senate. Jim Justice re-elected as West Virginia's governor. Tom Tillis re-elected to the North Carolina Senate. North Carolina's gubernatorial race was too close to call last election cycle. It took 2 weeks before we got a call. Hopefully it won't be as long this time, but Roy Cooper is in the lead over Dan Forrest. It is now 8 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Illinois and their 20 electoral votes goes to Tulsi Gabbard. North Dakota and their 3 electoral votes go to Donald Trump. South Dakota and their 3 electoral votes goes to Donald Trump. Kansas and their 3 electoral votes go to Donald Trump. Sorry, there's a technical error there. Oklahoma and their 7 electoral votes go to Donald Trump. Texas, too close to call. Donald Trump has a slim lead in the state. Michigan, too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a lead in the state. Pennsylvania, too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a lead in the state. New Hampshire, too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a lead in the state. Maine, 3 out of 4 of their electoral votes go to Tulsi Gabbard. Maine's 2nd congressional district goes to Donald Trump. Rhode Island and their 4 electoral votes go to Tulsi Gabbard. Connecticut and their 7 electoral votes go to Tulsi Gabbard. New Jersey and their 14 electoral votes go to Tulsi Gabbard. Delaware and their 3 electoral votes go to Tulsi Gabbard. Maryland, her vice president's home state, and their 10 electoral votes go to Tulsi Gabbard. District of Columbia's, Washington, D.C. and their 3 electoral votes go to Tulsi Gabbard. Alabama and their 9 electoral votes go to Donald Trump. Mississippi and their 6 electoral votes go to Donald Trump. Tennessee and their 11 electoral votes go to Donald Trump. Florida, it's too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a lead in the state. Though there is a history that the incumbent will win the state, there's a history of that the last incumbent did not win the state was Jimmy Carter. Ohio, when they're 18 electoral, Ohio is too close to call. Donald Trump is in the lead in the state. We now have a call from the state of North Carolina with their 15 electoral votes going to Donald Trump. South Carolina, we have a call from South Carolina. Donald Trump wins their 9 electoral votes. Here's the current electoral college. Donald Trump 120 electoral votes to Tulsi Gabbard's 80. Dick Durbin wins re-election in the Illinois Senate. Doug Burgum is re-elected as North Dakota's governor. Mike Rounds, re-elected to the South Dakota Senate. Chris Kobach, elected to the Kansas Senate. Jim Inhofe, re-elected to the Oklahoma Senate. John Cornyn, re-elected to the Texas Senate. Gary Peters, re-elected to the Michigan Senate. Jayan Shaheen, re-elected to the New Hampshire Senate. Andrew Walensky, elected as New Hampshire's new governor. This is a flip from last year, from their last election cycle. Susan Collins, re-elected to the Senate of Maine. Sorry, there is a technical error here as well. Jack Reed, re-elected to the Rhode Island Senate. Cory Booker, re-elected to the New Jersey Senate. Chris Coons, re-elected to the Delaware Senate. John Carney, re-elected as Delaware's governor. Doug Jones, re-elected to the Alabama Senate. Cindy Hyde-Smith, re-elected to the Mississippi Senate. Lamar Alexander, re-elected to the Tennessee Senate. We have a call from the North Carolina governor race. Dan Forrest is elected as North Carolina's new governor. It is now 8:30 and the following states have poll closings. Donald Trump wins Arkansas in their 6 electoral votes. Texas, too close to call. Donald Trump has a lead in the state. Michigan, too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a 0.2% lead in the state. Ohio, too close to call. Donald Trump has a lead in the state. Tulsi Gabbard had a lead in the state earlier, but now Trump has a lead. 50% of the precinct in. Florida, too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a lead in the state. Pennsylvania, too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a 0.1% lead in the state. New Hampshire, and their 4 electoral votes go to Donald Trump. This is a flip for 2016, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump has won the state of New Hampshire, and their 4 electoral votes. Here's the current electoral college. Donald Trump with 130 electoral votes. Tulsi Gabbard's 80. Tom Cotton, re-elected to the Arkansas Senate. It is now 9 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Arizona, too close to call. Donald Trump has exactly an 11-point lead in the state. Colorado, Tulsi Gabbard wins their 9 electoral votes. New Mexico and their 5 electoral votes go to Tulsi Gabbard. Wyoming and their 3 electoral votes go to Donald Trump. Nebraska, 4 out of the 5 electoral votes go to Donald Trump. Nebraska's 2nd congressional district is currently too close to call. Donald Trump does have a lead in the state, however. Minnesota and their 10 electoral votes too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a lead in the state, a much bigger lead than what Clinton did when they first matched up back in 2016. Wisconsin and their 10 electoral votes still too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a 0.1% lead in the state. Louisiana and their 8 electoral votes goes to Donald Trump. New York and their 29 electoral votes go to Tulsi Gabbard. Massachusetts and their 11 electoral votes go to Tulsi Gabbard. Texas and their 38 electoral votes go to Donald Trump. This was too close to call before, but now we have a call in the state of Texas. Michigan still too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard now has a bigger lead in the state. Ohio still too close to call. Donald Trump has a lead in the state. Florida too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard is breaching the 50% point, but Donald Trump has a lead in the state. Pennsylvania too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a lead in the state. Donald Trump has 183 electoral votes, and Tulsi Gabbard has 134. Donald Trump close to that 200 electoral vote mark. Mark Kelly elected to the Arizona Senate. John Walsh re-elected to the Colorado Senate. Ben Ray Lujan elected to the New Mexico Senate. Mike Enzi re-elected to the Wyoming Senate. Ben Sass re-elected to the Nebraska Senate. Tina Smith re-elected to the Minnesota Senate. Bill Cassidy re-elected to the Louisiana Senate. This is a flip from 2016, ladies and gentlemen. Bill Weld is elected to the Massachusetts Senate. The first Republican there for a while, I assume, to be a senator there. It is now 10 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Nevada, too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a lead in the state. Utah and their 6 electoral votes go to Donald Trump. Excuse me. Idaho and their 4 electoral votes go to Donald Trump. Iowa and their 6 electoral votes is too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a lead in the state. Montana and their 3 electoral votes go to Donald Trump. We have a call from Arizona. Their 11 electoral votes go to Donald Trump. Minnesota, and we have a call from Minnesota as well. Minnesota and their 10 electoral votes go to Tulsi Gabbard. Wisconsin, too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a lead in the state. Michigan, too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a lead within the state. We have a call for Nebraska 2nd District. Nebraska 2nd District goes to Tulsi Gabbard and their 1 electoral vote. Ohio and their 18 electoral votes are now projected to go to Donald Trump. Pennsylvania is still too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a lead in the state. Florida and their 29 electoral votes still too close to call. Donald Trump has a lead in the state. Here's the current electoral college. Donald Trump 225 electoral votes. Tulsi Gabbard 145. Utah's governor Evan McMullin is elected to the Utah governorship, our second independent governor of the night. Jim Risch re-elected to the Idaho Senate. Joni Ernst re-elected to the Iowa Senate. Steve Bullock, this is a flip from 2016. Steve Bullock elected to the Montana Senate. Mike Cooney is elected to the Montana governor spot. It is now 11 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Washington projected to go to Tulsi Gabbard. California and their 55 electoral votes projected to go to Tulsi Gabbard. Oregon and their 7 electoral votes projected to go to Tulsi Gabbard. Hawaii, the state Tulsi Gabbard represents, and their 4 electoral votes is projected to go to Gabbard. Nevada, we have a projection from Nevada. Nevada is projected to go to Tulsi Gabbard. Iowa is now projected to go to Donald Trump. Wisconsin still too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a lead in the state. Michigan still too close to call. Tulsi Gabbard has a lead in the state. Pennsylvania is now projected to go to Tulsi Gabbard. This is a flip from 2016, ladies and gentlemen. Tulsi Gabbard wins the state of Pennsylvania. Florida is now projected to go to Donald Trump. Here's the current electoral college. Donald Trump with 260 electoral votes. Tulsi Gabbard 249. Trump only needs 10 electoral votes to be re-elected as President of the United States. Jay Inslee is re-elected as Washington's governor. Jeff Merkley re-elected to the Oregon Senate. It is now 1 a.m. and the following states have poll closings. Alaska is projected to go to Donald Trump. We have a projection from Wisconsin. Tulsi Gabbard projected to win the state of Wisconsin. Another flip from 2016. Another flip state. Michigan is projected to go to Tulsi Gabbard. Excuse me. Dan Sullivan re-elected to the Alaska Senate. Now stand by as we have one major projection. Tulsi Gabbard is the next president of the United States. Tulsi Gabbard is the 47th president of the United States of America. The Senate, the balance of power, 50-50 between Democrats and Republicans. The vice president-elect John Delaney will be the tiebreaker. The Democrats do have control of the Senate. We will see you come 2022.